Hi, my name is Audrey, and I've been a real estate broker and property appraiser for over 25 years. I served as a real estate commissioner in my home state, and for many years I have assisted both individuals and companies in the appeal of their property tax assessments. I'd like to assist you in determining whether or not you'd like to appeal your own property taxes. Now, there are two important decisions you have to make. One is regarding money, and the other is regarding time. It's going to cost you one way or the other, either a lot of time or some money. If you decide to appeal it yourself, it probably won't cost you as much money. But if you hire an appraiser or an attorney, that of course is going to be an expense. So you're going to have to kind of assess that in determining whether you want to move forward either on your own or with assistance. Second, you have to understand that there's an important distinction between an assessment and an appraisal. An appraisal is simply an estimated opinion of market value as of a specific date based on properties that were sold that were similar to yours. It's a very simple concept, but a lot of people don't seem to understand that. It's as of a specific date. So you're going to have to know the date upon which your town-wide assessment was performed. That's very important because a lot of people are confused on that issue. Second, an assessment is usually a portion of the appraised value. Now, some taxing jurisdictions, for example, will assess based on 70% of value. Others, it'll be a fraction, but you're also going to have to know that. So, for example, if your property was appraised for $100,000 and you're going to be taxed on a 70% of its value, then your assessed value of that property is going to be $70,000. And your tax bill is going to be based on the 70%, i.e., $70,000, not the full appraised value of $100,000. And that's very important to understand. Now, also, keep in mind an assessor is usually a public official who actually performs the appraisal. That's different from hiring an independent fee appraiser who is not a public official. So when people use the term assessor, they're usually referring to the taxing jurisdiction public official who's the assessor. Now, the other thing that you have to understand is that the taxes and the assessment are two distinct concepts. Now, your taxes are not only based on the value of your property. They're based on two other things, so a total of 3 different items. Number 1, the budget of your taxing jurisdiction, your county or town you live in. Let's say you live in a town. The town budget, and I hope you all already know what the concept of a budget is, but a budget basically is all the liabilities and expenses that your town has. For example, education, police, the fire department, all these expenses that your town has to pay out. And then the revenues that may be coming in. For example, the state or county could provide grants to the town for something. There could be fees that come in as revenue. Let's say, for example, your town budget is $10 million. Now, what you're going to do in order for the town to determine the taxes you're going to pay on your individual property is they're going to take that $10 million and they're going to divide it by the value of all the properties in town, plus personal property. And I didn't mention that before. I'm only dealing with real estate property in this aspect, but towns also tax on personal property. Now, personal property, for example, are motor vehicles. If you have a home office, they could tax you on, for example, office equipment. It all depends. Anyway, all that is referred to as the grand list, or the tax roll. And so let's say the grand list of a particular town is $500 million, meaning that the value of all real estate and personal property in that town is equal to $500 million. Well, you're going to take your budget of $10 million and you're going to divide it by the town, by the grand list or the roll, which is $500 million, and you're going to come up with either 0.02 or 2%. Now, that 0.02 or 2% is going to be multiplied by $1,000 in effect, $1,000, which is called the millage rate or mill rate. And that's going to come out to the number 20. So in this case, the mill rate for that particular town is going to be 20. And let's say your property is worth, as I said before, it's been appraised at $100,000. The assessment is going to be 70% in that particular town or county, for example. So the assessed value is going to be $70,000, and you're going to multiply it by that mill rate, 20 mills, or 0.02. So that is how the tax is going to be applied to that particular property. You kind of have to understand that concept. So there are going to be 3 items that are going to affect what your taxes are going to be. Number 1, the budget of the town. Obviously, if the budget goes up, your taxes are going to go up. The mill rate. If the mill rate goes up, your taxes are also going to go up. And if the mill rate goes down, your taxes are going to go down. Theoretically. Because thirdly, the individual value of your property. Now, if that goes up and the mill rate goes down, it may be a wash. Maybe your taxes aren't going to change that much. Because if you're really upset about your taxes, you're going to have to understand what is really affecting them more. The estimated value of your property, or the town budget, or the value of all properties in towns. So this is just to give you a general overview before you start getting too upset, because it may have nothing to do with the individual value of your property that's been assessed. Now, when you go into and speak to the tax assessor and you're very upset that the value of your property has gone up, one of the issues that has always irritated me is that an assessor a lot of times will say, well, would you sell your property for that? But that's the wrong question. The question is, could you? It's not would you sell your property. I mean, if they've over-assessed you or over-appraised you, which is the more appropriate term. The question is, could you sell your property for that value as a specific date? So, in the next video, I'm going to deal with the issue of property tax field cards. You have to have a thorough understanding of your own tax field card before you can move forward on any appeal.